All right, so episode 27.
We don't
Something
know how to
like that.
count. We have to take off our shoes to get to 20. But
Yeah, we haven't gotten there yet.
we appreciate you watching. Please like and share as much as possible. Oh, and I am just talking to the three of us. So,
Yeah.
you two like and share.
Pretty much. What you
That said,
cooking over there?
Yeah, come on there. What's that? Put on the Australian accent and
I'm
start
still
cussing.
listening. I'm still listening.
No,
What?
Australian accent. Start cussing.
Crikey.
Right.
What are we talking about?
Another shrimp on the Barbie. Come on.
Will,
That always makes me think of the Jim Carrey, and she's like, "I'm from
John.
Austria."
Your cooking is awesome, brother. I mean, God, this pork. Wait. Oh, I'm on the other coast. Sorry, it's not your cooking.
Yeah.
you'll know if I cook for you, Dale. You'll be fucking going out and buying a goddamn engagement ring.
You mean cock ring? What?
I'm gonna marry a
Hey-o.
motherfucker. You'll be wanting to marry a motherfucker, you know what I'm saying? Right.
Well, according to our conversation earlier, I think you already took part in my wife or something.
Right?
Hey. So she's a flesh and blood woman, Dale, and you're never there.
It was for 4 months, motherfucker.
Ricky Bobby when he was in a coma for like a day.
I know, right?
Hey,
I went out to get the goddamn mail, John.
your house was all paid for, right? When you got out?
Almost.
I'm just saying, you know. Rent ain't cheap, motherfucker. That's all I'm saying.
Right?
That look
Oh,
when
I'm
you're trying
going
to
to tell
make
you right
the
now, the
mortgage.
conversation I had with B that day, that was enough for me. Because she was less than receptive when I made that telephone call.
I can only imagine.
No, actually, she wasn't bad at all. It was just, you know how you know the situation. There was a very big lack of information and a lot of questions all around that I just didn't have the answers to.
Right. No, I know.
Anyway.
No. But anyway,
But anyway,
yeah.
so what you guys up to this week?
Well,
I,
hopefully hearing from John's guy that maybe we'll be escorting him around parts of Africa.
I forgot to call him. I did talk to the other guy last night, the buddy of mine.
Yeah.
The buddy of mine said that he spent the weekend hanging out with him. They had dinner and stuff, their families. The gold mine fell through, but the other one didn't. They've got one of them. So I do got to link up with him, because they were trying something like a gold mine and a diamond mine. I think they landed the gold mine or the diamond mine and missed the bid on the gold mine or something like that. So I got to get the specs because I don't want to say anything without knowing, you know what I mean?
Sure. Well, and then there's also the possibility.
I mean, this is 2 weeks at home now, and I hadn't done shit except cut grass and do my honeydew shit. Hot tub started leaking yesterday, so I got it draining down to figure out where that's leaking from. Took one of my bikes out yesterday and spent a few hours on it. That's pretty nice.
I miss having two wheels.
Yeah. Well, I told you come down here. I got two in the basement. You can ride one of mine.
Yeah. Last time I was on two wheels was Ray Tanner's memorial.
Oh man.
Yeah, that's been a minute.
Yeah. I almost ended up dumping his bike too, pulling it up there to op fob. The whole
yeah?
driveway was sandy, and the last little turn in there kicked out on me, and I almost fucking dropped it. I was like, that'd be
Oh.
my luck. She asked me to ride his bike to his fucking memorial, and I dump it right before we get there.
Nobody would let you live that one down either.
Oh no, that would have
You
been bad.
hear about that at every reunion, and even in your absence, everybody would talk about it at every reunion.
Yeah, remember that asshole?
For sure, for sure.
Well, depending on how well my hard drive looks when I leave, it'll probably depend on whether or not y'all get to ride one of my bikes to my funeral or just pick up the pieces and put it in a box.
That's rule number one: smash my hard drive.
Wipe my hard drive.
Yep.
That was so funny because we used to say that shit, as a half joke. If anything happens out there, first thing you do is wipe your buddy's hard drive when you get back.
There was never a half joke about that.
But
Yeah.
well, what I'm saying is I was watching that Suicide Squad, the one with Will Smith and all, the first one.
Yeah.
And they're like, when they take Will Smith out of the cage and give him the guns, he points the gun at that guard, and the guard's like, if anything, if he pulls that trigger, I want you to go back and wipe my hard drive. Or he says, shoot him and then go wipe my hard drive or something like that. He does
Yeah.
shit. I forget how he did it now.
Yeah. Yep.
No, he didn't even have a computer. He was living a monk lifestyle while he was here.
Right.
Oh,
Listen, no, he didn't even have a computer. He lived a monk lifestyle.
no, I was
Yeah,
talking about the guard.
Bugs is
Oh,
practicing what you say to the wife.
Yeah. Ooh, yeah.
Like computer? No, he didn't have a computer out here.
Yeah.
No, it was funny. Like, I mean, no kidding. Like that was always the running joke is like, you wipe the hard drive and then you divvy up the gear, and I mean, no shit. I mean, flight suits, boots. I mean, all that shit, always got divvied up.
I don't know if I told y'all this story, and I probably did because my senility is getting worse, but we were out on the range one day, and Gunny, George Lindeman, he's smaller than Booger. Well, maybe not. Anyway, we're out on the range one day, and he's like, "Hey, Doc, lay down. I'll see if I can drag you." I'm in full kit. So full rig and everything, I'm probably 325, 330 pounds easy. You know what I mean? So I lay down on my back. He gets my grab handle and probably gets me about 12 feet. And that's the day that my whole team decided that they were going to strip my gear and use me as a fighting berm. I was too big to get off the field.
Yup.
Well,
We'll have to come back for you later. What if it's just like a broke toe? Sorry, dude.
I tell you what, who shocked
Self-made
me?
buddy aid.
Remember when we had to do that, 100-meter full kit and weapon and everything, firemen's carry?
Oh, yeah.
So who I had to carry was Brian Masterfini, full kit. And at that time, I think I weighed, I think I was about 220, maybe even 225 at the time. And I picked his ass up and I was like, what the fuck, Masterfini? How heavy are you? And he said, I think he said 205 or 210. And it shocked me because I didn't actually think he was really that heavy. I thought he was going to be like maybe 190, maybe even like 185. But that motherfucker, he was stacked a little more solid than I anticipated. And so I was like, okay. So I had him up and I started running and I was like, and we were in Kabul when I did that and my legs were on fucking fire. But when, for the next 3 days after that, I was just like, holy shit. Cause that elevation, man.
I remember one time years ago, they made a dummy out of fire hose. It's folded up and taped up and shit. So it looked kind of like a person, like a whatever. And I forget now, it was 100, 150 pounds, whatever it was. And I just run down there and they're supposed to do the drag, the fireman drag with the with the fucking your arms under their arms locked, and you're supposed to walk backwards.
Yeah.
Well, I walk down there and just pick it up, and put it on my shoulder, and take off running with it. And I get back across the line. They're like, "You got to do it again." I said, "Why?" "You got to drag it backwards." I was like, "Why?" "Because that's how we want it done." I was like, "Shouldn't the goal be to get the motherfucker back here as quickly as possible? What the fuck do you care how I get him here?"
Right.
"Well, not everybody can do it like that." I'm like,
Okay.
I'm still
I
trying to
can.
find the logic in your fucking reasoning here, bro. Like, I don't get that. I had to do it again, had to literally go back and hook my fucking arms under it and walk backwards.
That's so
But
stupid.
I get that same shit because you know how I look. I mean, most people when they're like, "How much you weigh?" and I'm like 300 pounds, 295, 300, right in that area, and they're like,
Right.
"There's no fucking way." And I'm like, "What do you mean there's no way?" There's no fucking way you 300 pounds. And I'm like, you ever seen a pound of muscle versus a pound of fat? Like it's a big fucking
big difference.
bro.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's crazy too, man. But yeah, the fireman's carry. What the fuck?
There's a few people
Yeah,
I
we
felt
had
bad
to-
for.
But yeah, Gunny got me about 12 feet. He's like, "Fuck that shit. Your ass is staying on the field. We'll take your gear. We'll get the fucking, secret squirrel shit off of you and we'll head out." We'll have to come back with a Chinook.
I
Right.
think we said that to that Wilford Brimley guy too. That USACE guy, remember him?
I do remember that. What was his name?
I don't know, but when you said got diabetes or something like that, he did not find that funny.
God, that Vetus.
He looked like fucking Wilford Brimley.
He did, straight up.
What was that cat's name that ran that shit? The civilian side. He was from Columbia, South Carolina. He was a Gamecock fan. Me and him talked a whole bunch. Redheaded cat. Probably
Are you
about
talking about
5'8",
Rehab?
5'9". He was like
You talking
the
about
head
Jason
ball.
Rehard?
Huh? No.
You talking about Jason Rehard?
Well, no, that would have been. I'm talking about he was in Kabul. You probably don't know who I'm talking about.
Oh no.
I cannot remember his name. Anyway, he was a really, really cool fucking dude. And so I told you the story about me having that, where they had that wreck down there by Polar Sharkey when we were going to Bagram. So we were going to get him and those other cats from USACE that had flown into Bagram. And we were heading up there to pick them up when I ran up on that wreck and commandeered, the local vehicle to transport my patients. And so when we finally get there, I walk in the fucking talk and I'm like, "Hey, where are these cunts at? Tell them we're here." And they're like, "Man, what?" I forget what his name is now. "He is super pissed." I was like, "About what?" "Because y'all are late." I was like, "I don't give a fuck if he is pissed. We weren't standing outside eating fucking ice creams. You know what I mean?"
Yeah.
I said, "Call the motherfucker and tell him to come in here and tell me he's pissed." And they were like, no, it's okay. It's fine. I was like,
Yeah.
"Motherfucker, I'll leave your ass sitting here. You can wait on another goddamn team. Hey man, I got a tire leaking. I got vehicles down. I can't haul them. Get another team up here from Kabul. I mean, don't fuck with me. You know what I mean? You'll sit here 2 more damn hours."
Oh, you saying tire leak? That made me laugh. Very first time I was out with an MRAP team. We're out. Remember that training ground that was in between Pakistan and Kandahar? I can't remember the name of it, but it started with a T. It was that fucking big ass training ground where they had an RPG range and all that shit. Well, we stopped there. It was like in the very early stages of being built. And Kevin Yanger, we're getting ready to leave. Kevin Yanger says, "I'm going to do a tire pressure check." And I had no idea what he was talking about. So I'm like, "What the fuck?" So I jump out of the vehicle and I go around to the front of because he's at the front of the vehicle. And I jump out and I go over there and I'm like, what the fuck's up with the tire pressure? And he's taking a piss. And he's like, "What the fuck, Doc?" And I'm like, "What?" And he's like, "Dude, that's code for taking a piss." I'm like, "Oh shit. Well, give a motherfucker a heads up." I'm like, now I'm staring, now I'm meat gazing, and I'm like, "What the fuck, damn it?" You got to
Just like the dog.
right? Like you got to
Just
brief
like
the
the
new
dog.
guy, and everybody's laughing their ass off on the comms, like, oh, fucking Smith, now he's out, and I'm like, oh god damn it. Oh man,
Fucking medics.
right?
Yep.
All the same.
Oh man, it is a nice day out here.
It ain't been bad here today. I think it's been in the 80 range today.
Yeah, it's about where we are, kind of mid 80s, but really no humidity.
If I had to guess, you're probably 6 hours from me. Is somewhere in
Give or
that
take.
neighborhood.
Yeah, it's about
6, 7 hours.
9 to Atlanta.
Yeah, and it takes me about an hour and a half or so to get to Atlanta from here. Depends on what you're calling Atlanta. It
Yeah,
takes me
I
about
mean,
2 hours to get to the airport.
yeah, I know when I used to drive from here to Texas, that was kind of my halfway point. Once I hit Atlanta, then I knew I only had about 9 more hours to get to East Texas. It was right out about an 18-hour drive. So
I know that
That's
time I
about
was
what it took
visiting.
me when I left Louisiana, when I left up there near Pennsylvania, going down there.
I know that time I visited you, Looney, and you gave me that one warning, and I was like, nah, no way. You said, watch out for those fuckers in Atlanta because they will come to a dead stop trying to merge into traffic. And I'm like, nah, that's not really a thing. No fucking shit. These people will come to a dead stop if you do not just let them into traffic. I'm
yeah.
like, I'm sitting there like, why the I couldn't believe it. I've never seen anything like it. This
I
fucking
hate
chick is
driving through there.
and at a dead stop on a merge. I'm like, how the fuck are people this stupid? But then again, I mean, I've seen some stupid shit out here in Vegas too.
Oh, I can imagine.
I mean, we got all kinds, but we got foreigners, we got the Hawaiians. I mean, dude, it's
At least
and I
most of your
swear,
tourists are Ubering, right?
it's not just tourists. You got the foreigners that move here.
Yeah.
You got people from Ethiopia that are fucking cab drivers. You got
No,
the
he's saying most of the tourist industry uses Ubers or cabs, is what he's saying. So you're probably basically dealing with locals more than say tourists.
well, the
Probably
thing
not
is,
too many tourists bring their vehicles to Vegas,
true,
I guess
but
probably some that can.
but what you also get though is you get a lot of people that move here and they don't stay here very long because
Still local.
Vegas it's a tough town to really get adjusted to, like as far as getting work and keeping work. This town it looks big, but the mentality is like a small town. It's who do you know?
Yeah,
Right.
I watched
lose
Leaving
your
Las
job.
Vegas, dude, and Casino. I'm pretty well pro at this point.
Well, then I'm sure you can just get yourself a job, John. I'm sure you can get a job.
I thought about coming out there and taking over Casino. I watched Robert De Niro do it. It didn't seem too hard. You find out who owns it, you beat the shit out of them.
Yeah, works just like that. Yeah. I'm sure
Yeah.
MGM has no problem with you taking over.
Yeah, right. So find out who the guy is that owns it.
Right.
I watched Allen and the Hangover count cards, so I could probably do it too.
Oh, I'm pretty sure you could probably do it.
His last name
yeah.
was Garner.
Because
Coincidence?
Alan did
I
it. He was a
think not.
retard.
Thanks a lot, Bin Laden.
I tell you, there are very few movies that I can think of that the follow-up, the sequel, and the third one and all put it up like
Held
they did.
up.
Yeah, those movies
Yeah.
just got better as they went along, and that's a rarity.
Yeah.
I honestly thought when they did 2, I was like, they left it open for one, but I was like, they can't top that one. And then sure as shit, they
Oh
topped
my
it.
God.
I will say this: I would not be opposed to getting about 500 of our brothers out here and taking over this fucking town because I think we could do it.
I think we could do it
I
with
mean-
about 20 of us.
Nah, there's still
Are
a
we got to
huge
control
mob
the cops
influence.
too, or are we just going to deal with the bad people?
No, we got to control the cops too. They're
Yeah,
they're
it'd take
controlled
more
by the
than that, too.
Mormons.
They probably
Yeah.
have some proficient cops out there. You know what I mean, like SWAT and stuff like that. I expect they probably know what they're doing.
Well, the SWAT guys will be on our side because you got a lot of PJs there.
They
PJs
better
and
hope they
combat
are.
controllers. Yeah.
Nice.
No, I know a few of them. They're pretty. They're
I,
pretty decent.
Do you know where
I
any
used to know a
stash
girl
houses
that was
are?
a principal.
What's that?
Do you know where any stash houses are?
Right.
That's
Man,
not the
Booger.
trick.
Me and Booger got an idea for a new business venture.
Yeah, right.
That's not the trick. You got to know which ones to avoid.
Yeah, but that's easy. We just pick up a drug dealer off the side of the street and beat him till he tells us.
That's not who. That's not who you get that intel from.
Who?
UCs.
Yeah, but I mean, I'm just saying you could formulate a UC, or you could just grab a guy and put a drill bit in his kneecap.
Oh my gosh. You're going about this
So,
all wrong. Yo,
A
it's
rather
all
direct
wrong.
approach. It's all wrong. Right?
What are you talking about?
Undercovers. You got to avoid their undercover operations, dude.
You talking about
Between
the
the
cops?
Yes, between the feds and the locals. you
Oh
gotta
yeah, but I'm
avoid
just
their-
talking about hurting drug dealers, not cops.
Well, that's the easy part. Those
know.
guys are idiots.
I know. That's why I said we grab one, drill him, and he'll tell us everything we need to know.
They're not going to know who's undercover.
Can we still drill him and find out?
He just
Well,
wants to
well,
drill kneecaps, man.
he'll
Let the
tell you
man
whatever-
drill some kneecaps.
He'll tell you anything, but it ain't going to be accurate.
Did
He
I see
doesn't
you guys
care.
at, Guardians of the Galaxy Part 3? Did I see y'all that?
Well,
No.
I watched it, but
Yeah, so there's
yeah.
one part where they're like, we're gonna go in there and we're gonna rescue this people and we're gonna get back out. And this is then the big guy, the
You forgot to say spoiler alert. We're podcasters now. We got to say spoiler alert.
or whatever. Nobody watches this shit. So then Bautista goes, yeah, and we're
Funny
gonna
'cause it's
kill
true.
everybody. And he goes, no, dude, we're not killing anybody. We're gonna kill a couple of people. We're not killing anybody. We're gonna kill one guy. He's like, nah, it's just getting sad.
We're gonna kill somebody with no family. Oh no, that's just sad. Oh man, that was pretty good.
That's like the meme where the therapist is going, do you have any suicidal thoughts? And person goes, just the normal amount. And the therapist goes, well, the normal amount is 0. And they're like, oh, yeah, 0.
Right. Oh man.
So I went and put in, I've been on the road for almost 20 years between overseas and then, contracting back here and then getting into this oil thing. And so I thought, I don't know if I can survive in this world, but I want to try, you know what I mean? So I'm still licensed as a paramedic. Figure I'll give them a shot at that. So I talked to the local cats here and talked to 2 different services, and they're bringing me on to do some work. But it's funny because like now I'm 50 years old and I don't think I'm the same person I used to be, but these cats that knew me 20 years ago, they're like, man, things have changed. Yeah, no shit. I mean, I'm gonna have to get used to some of the new drugs and it'll take me a little bit, He's like, no, that's not what I'm talking about. You can't hit people now. And I'm like, what do you mean? He's like, bro, everybody's got a cell phone now. You just can't hit people like that anymore. And I'm like, what the fuck am I? Like some psycho that just runs through Walmart hitting people? Like, you know what I mean? Like everybody I ever put hands on, I felt like needed it.
Right.
Hey, Booger, can we still call it a Deadpool if he's doing the killing instead of doing the
Yeah. It's
I
kind of a
mean,
technicality. I mean,
is it a death pool
You
or a
motherfuckers.
Deadpool? I mean,
yeah. What
So my
over
wife
under
says,
on the amount that he gets before the Deadpool?
Right. I'm saying we start one in the
Yeah.
Blackwater alumni, maybe, or maybe here on the channel, like, hey, everybody, we're gonna start a GoFundMe for John's bail and his lawyer fund.
And we're funding it by bets on how soon he will need it.
Yes, exactly.
Pick a date, $10 a date.
Right. The John reintegration to normalcy fund.
You know, it's funny because my wife said that same thing. She said, "You sure you want to stay here? You sure you can handle staying here?" I'm like, "I don't know." She's like, "I'm worried about you, like being able to deal with people, you know." And I said, "Well, worst thing that could happen is I go get fired after an hour and go back out on the road. You know what I mean? Like I'm no worse off if I got fired for hitting somebody or doing something. You know what I mean? I'm no worse off than I was today. I'm unemployed, so what's the downside?
So
Good
As long as I
point.
keep it body shots, I can't go for the head. I just got to do body shots for a little while."
So this is the funny thing, John. This will make you laugh. 2014, our contract ended abruptly in Afghanistan, and I was like, you know what? I'm going to give it a shot to go back to personal training. So I'm working at the Lifetime Fitness, not far from here, and there's like 24 trainers that work there, and we do this little exercise. I'm there for probably about 2 months, and the manager's like, okay, we're going to do this little mental exercise. You're on a deserted island. There's, you plus 3 people from this room. You got to, say which 3 people they are and why you chose them.
Is this the fuck 'em, marry 'em, kill one?
No. Not,
You should have said,
it's
"Fuck 'em, marry 'em, kill one." I've done this one. Keep coming.
right. But I'm not loony, and HR's there. So, anyway.
That would have been perfect. That would have been perfect.
Well,
Just turn around and go, "Fuck her, kill her, marry her." Just turn right back around.
I don't know. I mean, they're asking these questions while HR is present. That sounds like entrapment.
And then they were like, and then you got to have like,
hold up.
And then you got to pick like 3 items and what are they and why you would have them there, right? Well, 75% of this room at least chooses me. Now, bear in mind, I've got the background of pretty much, the special operations medic. I'm trained to do like physician's assistant level shit. But that's not why they want me. No, they all chose me because they knew I'd been to war, and they cited, and I shit you not, they all said because he can kill people. Now we get to the end of this, right? And like I said, 75% of the room, they all chose me because I could kill people. So we get to the end of this exercise, and I said, "Hey, look, I'm kind of honored that y'all really want me there, but if we're the only 4 people on this island, who the fuck am I killing?" And I looked at them, and I'm like, "Do I start now or what?" And then I just kind of, their eyes all go wide, and I'm just like, "I'm fucking with you," And but that's how they looked at me. They look at you differently. Now, fast forward to after this bomb blast, and I'm going through a hearing for Social Security disability. And, they kept focusing on my migraines and, why I couldn't work and blah, blah, blah. Like, the Labor Department representative, was being asked, well, could he hold a full-time job, given that he has, more than this many migraines a month? And they're like, well, no. And could he hold a part-time job, given that he has this many migraines a month? And they're like, well, no. And so the judge is kind of like, well, okay, I think I've heard enough. Does anybody have something else to input? So I tell the judge, I'm like, well, hey, Judge, I'm glad that, you kind of sound like you made a decision, but can I proffer one more thing? And she's like, well, yeah, sure. And so I said, look, you've kind of focused on my migraine issue, and I'm kind of hoping that goes away at some point. But let me talk about the PTSD factor and the elephant in the room that no one's addressing. I said, I'm 6'3" and over 250 pounds. And I relayed this story to her about, these people that, that actually thought it was a good thing that I'd come back from war and that I could kill people. I said, now let's fast forward to the, guy with PTSD after getting blown up. And now you're asking me to train to work at a laundromat for a guy that probably doesn't like his job either. And let's say that because of
To
my
deal with the people
TBI,
in laundromats.
exactly right. And I said, and I said, now you got a guy with a TBI who has a short-term memory issue, and you ask him to do something, and I go, oh shit, I forgot. What was that again? And the boss, probably just being a normal person, probably sucks his teeth and rolls his eyes like, oh God, I got to tell this guy again for the fourth time today some stupid simple task. And me being who I am, I'm probably gonna clench my teeth a little bit, clench my fists a little bit, and he's gonna look at that and it's gonna dawn on him, oh fuck, he's 6'3" and over 250 pounds and knows how to kill people. I said, how long before you think this guy's gonna call the police just because I'm a little upset? And she looked at me and was like, yeah, you're right. I don't want you working ever again. It was just, it's kind of, right. So it's just kind of funny, how, a lot of people, they don't think about these kinds of things, and it's like, you, John, you're perfectly capable of medicine, right? And, you're like,
about that.
but my point is, you're like, yeah, there's going to be a few things that you got to learn, like the new drugs, like you said, you're going to have to, touch up on a few things. And that was what you're focused on, right? You're talking about the actual technical part of the job itself. And they're like, oh no, well, you just can't hit people no more. And you're like, whoa, what the fuck do you think about me? And this is literally how people look at us. This is how the rest of society looks at us, as big fucking knuckle dragging monsters that all we do is commit violence. And we're like, whoa, what the fuck is wrong with you people? We're more than just that. I mean, yes, we're that too.
I bake.
All right. I mean, right. I mean,
I remember,
and Bugs bakes.
We were on a move with
my
a client
milkshakes
one
bring
time.
all the boys to the yard.
But we were on a move with a client one time, and as we were pulling up to the house, the driver just had said, hey, can you switch me for tomorrow's move? I've got a test. And the client overheard it, and she goes, what do you have a test for? And it was like, oh, I'm finishing up my master's. It was some online test. She was like, wait, what? And that was when she realized that, damn near everybody on the team had, a degree of some sort that rivaled what she had. And she just boggled her mind.
Right.
I got that buddy of mine I told you all about out in Houston. The guy that I was bodyguarding that wound up hiring me. But he and I became friends through this. And now we don't meet up on Christmas and exchange gifts. But nonetheless, he'll go on a bear hunt. He'll send me pics and we'll talk about it. And just, every once in a while we just chat, you know what I mean? But anyway, this is probably, I don't know, fucking $1 million a year guy. You know what I mean? Like, he makes good money. He's educated. He's one of the top people in his field, just a super guy. But when you look at him with the haircuts, the clothing, the mannerisms, you can tell that he's I would say like a top tier kind of guy. You know what I mean? You can just see that. You expect him to be educated. You expect him to have a nice car, and you know what I mean? He most likely would play golf. You know what I mean? You just have these assumptions,
preconceived notions. Yeah.
And so what's funny is how people look at people like me. Because here I am, 6'2", 300 pounds. I wear a 54 jacket, a 36 pants. I wear a 14 extra wide shoes. You know what I mean? Like, I can't buy hats off the rack. And I'm covered in tattoos.
Right.
Got this beard. And I sound like I'm from the movie fucking Sling Blade or something. You know what I mean? I'm the
Ain't
last
got no
person
gas in it.
that you would expect to be educated. And that was one of the things that Mike told me, my friend we're talking about. Because when I was working for him, he said, I'd love to be a fly on the wall when people actually have a real conversation with you and find out that you speak multiple languages and are educated and you have a fucking master's degree. You're standing out here. He said, I could just see the look on their faces as this sort of unfolds in front of them. You know what I mean? Because everybody that I meet out in the world asks me, I guarantee you once a month, twice a month, I get asked, are you a wrestler? You know what I mean? You look like a wrestler. Are you a wrestler? Because I'm built like a fucking guy on a wrestling
Right.
TV shit. You know what I mean? But and people are like, no, I'm not. And it's so funny how the stereotype is that we're this big violent, you know what I mean? And while that may be true, there's another dimension in there as well. You know what I mean? And I think people tend to glaze over that rather quickly in their presumptions. But
And people do that to Booger's brotherhood, the Marines, a lot too. And Marines,
Oh, yeah.
I think, on average, actually have a higher ASVAB score and have higher IQs than any other branch.
Yeah,
And people would think,
yeah, entrance
Yeah.
into the Marine
you get that
Corps
from Fox
is the
News.
same as well, entrance to get into the Marine Corps is the same as the Air Force and every other service.
Stop being
lower
Chad.
than that. So, but yeah,
That's what I was saying.
that's just kind of a preconceived notion about Marines. But I mean, we back a lot of it up too, because there's a lot of us that are dumber than a box of rocks.
Being a corpsman, I got to see it firsthand, and I would say,
Oh.
no, Marines are the smartest dumbasses that I've ever met, because academically they're smart, but when they're bored, oh my god, they do some of the stupidest shit. Like, hey, let's see if this poncho will stop me from the third deck during a typhoon.
Yeah.
No, let's not see that because I got to fucking fix it.
Honestly, just barracks on a Thursday night should be
Yeah.
a reason alone for commands to give Marines their own rooms and just leave them the fuck alone, because Thursday nights on field day, like, it gets fucking wild in the barracks, and you just don't need all those fucking minds coming together and packing up and going, yep, that's a good idea.
Yeah.
Right.
And that is the absolute 100% reason that One Bravo was initiated, is people like us.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
But the funny thing is, it's not us that ever does it. We're always the ones that skirt it. It's always the squares that do it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, how many injuries did you treat from Marines riding the fucking floor buffer?
Oh god.
That would
Hell,
always happen.
Just about every injury we had was self-inflicted. We didn't ever get hurt by the fucking enemy. It was all
Right.
dumb shit we were doing. Remember
Yeah,
that
dumb
fucking
experimental
gun that
shit, or
remember that flare gun that Flavor made?
oh yeah, yeah,
He took
yeah.
a fucking pin flare.
Pen flare.
Yeah, and made a fucking gun to hold the pin
Yeah.
flare and put a fucking sight on it and everything. So it was literally like a fucking little sub gun that you load the pin flares in, and fucking man, he had that motherfucker dialed in, bro. We were setting guys
Oh,
on
yeah.
fire riding down the fucking road with pin flares to the man jam. I mean, I never did, and I would have said something had I seen it, but
Oh, bullshit. I think you actually shot it once out of the turret. Let me see that fucking thing.
that and the frozen piss
stitches
bottles
at
were the
the,
best, you know?
I got 5 stitches at the cache in Baghdad from trying to jump over a brick wall and fucking landed face first.
Yeah.
There
One
may or
of our
may not have been
training things.
alcohol involved.
One of our training things for Blackwater, we accidentally set cross swords on fire. That was fun.
Shit.
Yep.
That's
It was
awesome.
like, how the fuck do you set cross forwards on fire? It was like, well, there was a plen flare involved. Yeah,
Very carefully.
non-lethals. I was the shot heard round Blackwater, so let me clear up the rumors on that one. Everybody was like, how the fuck? So we had gotten issued 203 grenade launchers, and State Department never bothered to say, this is how we want you to employ them. They just said, here you go. They got to fix to our M4s. And I was on the counter assault team. So me and the dude, I'll just leave it by the call signs because I don't want to implicate anybody. But
Redhead?
he was on, no. But anyways, he was on the other side, so we were both in there. And I'll just, again, because I'm not going to implicate anybody, but this guy was an asshole. He called himself Hammer, but he was an asshole. He was our truck commander, and Scooby was our driver. And we had this guy that was a former SEAL. He was our up gunner on this particular mission. And so we leave the green zone, and we went out gate 2, pulled a stop right off of bridge 1. And I almost have to light this car up because it comes over the bridge and immediately sees us, and it's trying to come to a stop, but it's like such a short distance. I mean, it's like you can see all 4 tires are just locked up. And so he's trying to come to a stop because he's moving so fast. He comes to a stop. I don't have to shoot or anything. And then we've got nothing but traffic along our route. And so Scooby is trying to press over as hard as he can to the J barriers. He ends up, actually cracking the seal on the driver's side front tire. And so now we're riding a flat, and we're getting ready to go down Haifa Street. And he calls out a flat, and we're trying to figure out, do we need to roll back into the green zone, or should we roll on to Bennu and try to change the tire there? And so we go ahead and make the call, well, we're going to roll to the Bennu and change a flat there. So now we're rolling slower, though, and the whole motorcade's rolling slower. We're at the back of the motorcade pulling that counter assault mission. And as we're going down the street, our up gunner, he's working overtime trying to hold traffic back because now we're going so damn slow, and all these cars are just being edgy, and he's giving keefs, he's yelling at people trying to stop him. He's throwing water bottles. I'm tossing water bottles, dude. He's tossing water bottles. We're giving keefs, and this one dude, shaven head, clean shaven face, wearing a black turtleneck, white knuckling the steering wheel. He's the right military age. I mean, all the signs are there. He's driving by himself. It's a white, sedan. I mean, every bolo in the world says I could shoot this motherfucker in the face and there wouldn't have been a problem, to be honest with you. But, I'm trying to give him the keef. I'm trying to get his attention. I've already tossed a water bottle. It was a bad toss. And if I shoot the engine block first, which was our TTP at the time, even though it was against fucking State Department protocols, which, by the way, everybody out there, State Department's TTPs were shoot the driver first. We came up with the unofficial TTPs, which was shoot the engine block first, because we felt like everybody deserved a chance to get their fucking attention. So anyways, if I followed our TTPs, there was a chance of a ricochet off of that, and I was going to hit somebody in Haifa Park because it had a whole bunch of civilians and Iraqi army standing along the roadside there. Well, I didn't want a ricochet hitting some bystander. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to use this fucking M203 grenade launcher that had an orange smoke in it. So I get the right angle and I just pop a smoke, and it goes right in the motherfucker's wheel well, follows it down, ricochets off the ground, and it sparks up. Now the follow vehicle calls out, they're shooting flares at us. I get on the radio and I'm like, negative, smoke out. Now everybody, is like, fuck it, we're returning to the green zone, which actually worked out in our favor because it turned out we didn't even have the right equipment to do a tire change for a Humvee at the venue. So we get back to the green zone, go ahead and do a tire change there, and John Fagan had to bring out all the equipment we needed to do the tire change. So as we're doing that, we just so happened to have a State Department guy that was rolling with us on this mission, who was the AIC. And he's like dude, that was so fucking cool. Like, what happened? And I was like, fuck it, I'm gonna have to give this brief later on anyways. Because I knew I was gonna have to go to the talk and debrief another State Department agent. So I was like, fuck it, I'm good with what happened. So I'm sitting there, talking about it. And Hammer, he's sitting there the whole time, like, shut the fuck up, shut the fuck up. I'm like, dude, I'm gonna have to say this anyway. So, whatever. He's a State Department agent. If he's asking, I'm gonna tell him.
Right.
So I'm giving the fucking story, giving him the hip shot version of it. And he's like, oh, that's so fucking awesome. And even the upgunner, the SEAL, he was a former, officer. He's like, dude, when you shot that fucking 203 launcher, it was like somebody hit a pause button on life. He's like, every civilian, every car froze on the road. Yeah, they didn't even know what to make of that sound. They just know that was a sound they never heard. That was an object they never seen. They all stopped. And I was like, cool, it worked. That's all I gave a shit about, is that it worked. Got the job done. We were able to get turned around, go back, fucking get our tire changed. That's all I cared about. Well, Scott, behind my back, fucking tried to get me fired. But the best he could do was get me removed from the team. So for like 2 weeks, I get fucking put off the team. And the red detail leader was like, well, wait a second, you guys are trying to get this guy fired, but where's the fucking left seat, right seat on how to use these 203 launchers? Like, you guys gave him a fucking weapon of employment, but didn't tell him how to employ it. So how the fuck are you going to try and hold him accountable for something you didn't tell him how to use it? He has used this weapon before. He's obviously proficient in it. So what's the fucking problem? So I got put back on the counter assault team and got put onto John Fagan's team. And that way I got the fuck away from Scott Alexander, who was trying to play fucking stabby stab in the back. And I guess I just gave away his name. So fuck you, Hammer. Fuck you, Scott Alexander. You're a prick. Yeah, I gave away your name. But yeah, and if I ever see in real life again, I'm gonna fucking remove every one of your fucking teeth. Just know that. Okay. So, anyways, but yeah, so everybody out there who is spreading rumors and lies about what actually happened that day, that's what happened that day, and that's why we got all our 203s taken away, and why State Department had a whole revamp on how we were going to get qualified with the 203s for DOS missions. So, anyways, that's the end of my story.
Holy shit!
I miss driving in Iraq.
That was me.
Yeah, it's funny because my wife all the time when we're going somewhere, she'll say, "You're not in Afghanistan," because I'm like, I wish we had people here blocking and screening and pushing cars. You know what I mean?
Driving was fun. I enjoyed it. I mean, it was terrifying because something could go boom at any fucking time. But man, I love, especially driving lead. That was my favorite.
Yeah.
Just fucking making the path.
I never got much lead time. We always ran a rabbit truck on the mail contract, and then we always had the the lasers. And,
yeah, the EOF lasers.
Yeah, but what's funny is like everybody used to say, well, the rules of engagement have changed. Like, you can't do this, you can't do that, and all this. But on that mail contract, it didn't fucking matter. I mean, it was Wild West. You did whatever the fuck you wanted to do. There wasn't no Overwatch. I mean, it was just you were on your own.
Yeah.
You went down, you were on your own. But man, they knew what those lasers meant. People can say whatever the fuck they want to say, but they knew what those lasers meant. We'd be coming down the road and I'd fucking laze that driver's side mirror, or if it was maybe I'd hit their rear view or something like that, and it'd pop into their head, and they'd be in the fucking ditch at 60 kilometers an hour. I mean, they knew damn well what the next step was.
Right, get out of the way or get shot.
Yeah.
I've got a video of it was a car that was going with our flow, but there was donkey carts counterflowing on the shoulder, and this car didn't see us until like the very last second, just fucking freaked and went hard right and head on right into a donkey.
Dale made me hit a tractor one time.
Oh man, did you ever see that video where that one guy, like, I think there was a like a roadblock or like one of those checkpoints set up by the army, and he wasn't paying attention. He's like going full speed, and as they all raised up weapons, getting ready to shoot him, he fucking was like, "Oh shit!" and he fucking just went off the side of the road, hit some kind of embankment, and just went. And all
Holy
you just see is
shit.
this dirt cloud, and he's just spinning over there. It's like some shit in a movie. You're like, what the fuck? Guy was like, well, he didn't get shot, but I don't know if he survived either.
No kidding.
Oh
Fucking
yeah,
Dukes of Hazzard there.
I gotta wrap it
completely.
up.
Yep. It is that time.
Yeah. We'll
Sounds so good.
call me tomorrow. Remind me to call that cat.
Africa
Help me
dude.
remember. Help me remember that.
Go ahead and say it, Bugs.
Africa, dude. African American, you racist.
He's not a
I'll allow
racist. He's a bigot. There is a difference.
I'm allowed to.
That's right. He gets a hall pass.
Right.
Right.
Hall pass. Right.
He R1.
Jamal said I could.
Yeah. He didn't have Jody. He had Jamal.
Is that what you called yourself?
Oh my god. Oh my god.
And what's funny is nobody knows it while we're laughing about it.
Right.
Oh, well.
I'll see
You guys
y'all
have a
later.
good week, and I'll see you later.
Later.